Welcome everybody in my channel. Today I'd like to talk about what else matters, and I wonder if you actually know what matters, because I already said why name matters, why location matters when you think about your company, but what else matters? So for me, education was a very important part, and actually shortly answering what else matters is know-how. Know-how in stem cells, know-how in different methodologies, know-how in generally cell biology and molecular biology. And for me, this education path started after after graduating from biotechnology at University of Wrocław. I moved all the way to Rotterdam, where I performed a great PhD in at Erasmus MC, and that's actually cover of my PhD. That's the result of the PhD studies. And I was very happy to enter a group of Professor Len Jerzak, which is a worldwide recognized expert in blood stem cells, and is in this even put in this very beautiful book in Dutch, together prepared by Kristin Memory, Anja van der Stolpe, and Bernard Rulen. So the PhD was a very important part, because it was for me really when I could describe shortly the school of life, school of doing top science, where high quality is really important, where there is international environment, and what I was always very grateful from perspective of time to Elaine, that Elaine really also taught me how to develop this thicker skin, how to perform high quality experiments, how to present with great energy and great content. So that was really important thing for me, and I realized also from personal perspective that I also then grew more as a researcher, because I had to work with different people. And since I was small child and the only child, my parents always brought me under umbrella, which I can still understand, to protect me from sometimes unpleasant people. But actually doing PhD in Rotterdam exposed me to not most of nice people, but also sometimes difficult people, or different people, not necessarily easy to work with. And I think that also helped me to shape myself as a person, not be so sensitive when looking at facial expressions, that somebody doesn't look nice at you or looks angry. So that helped me also to realize that I cannot be so sensitive. I cannot take so much to myself. I cannot be too emotional about these things. And I have to somehow put myself there, expose myself to not always nice people to work with, and deal with it on daily basis. So this was a very important thing, training, PhD training, and importantly, gaining this fundamental knowledge about animals also helped me a lot in studying mice behavior and so on, and performing different experiments with animals. So this also taught me, what also I'm very grateful to Elaine, become very responsible and grow in this responsibility for my experiments. So this was important thing, knowing and understanding and gaining this fundamental knowledge about blood stem cells actually brought me to next project driven place in Nijmegen, when I wanted to know more about stem cell environments, actually particularly bone, where our blood stem cells reside inside. And after this postdoc, I became already very much more independent as a researcher, which, by the way, is also expected to be. Then I moved to, that was also next beautiful milestone, to learn more about how now I can apply this fundamental knowledge about stem cells towards preclinical project. And I was very happy to enter a very international big group of also worldwide recognized stem cell leader, Catherine Verfeilly, which actually is known for studying multipotent adult progenitor cells, MAPCs, and also performing a lot of already preclinical experiments to bring these MAPCs to the clinics and treatment of the patients. So that was great, also great group, very international. And what I realized that was very nice part of Katrin personality as a scientist was that she was giving you full trust. She was delegating a lot of things, very responsible, and that's what also helped me a lot to grow as let's say, shaped me as I would say, a word-like scientist, I would say, and importantly helped me to really clearly communicate and develop my people management. So people I worked with, students I worked with, technicians. Another interesting hint which I would like to share is that Katrin invited many times politicians to the lab, or people from radio, TV, so from media. And I realized that this is maybe a hint already of entrepreneurial side of science, where we as a scientist and even worldwide recognized stem cell leaders are approaching politicians, public, media to invite them to the lab, show them under microscope stem cells, which they have barely idea what it is under microscope, but still engaging them. I think that's really a really great part of Katrin activity, and I really got really interesting ideas about, this is something which is very important to communicate science to public, and also engaging politicians, which also define development of science and also regenerative medicine. So that was a great postdoc. Then I moved to Groningen when I was more and more interested in performing preclinical projects which are closer and closer to the patients. And I actually had great opportunity to perform a postdoc where I developed actually human leukemia in mice. So we were using samples from patients, from leukemic patients, and I performed a lot of transplantations and developed actually many different types of leukemias in mice. That was extremely awkward thing when you think about it. Like human leukemic cells can develop in mice, and this kind of mouse human chimeric model can sometimes sound strange, but this was a very important step to actually realize that now by developing this human leukemia we can apply certain types of inhibitors and see if this drugs can target successfully and kill specifically leukemic stem cells. So this was a really nice project. And since I'm the only child, as I mentioned, I moved all the way to Poland, to Warsaw, because for me, I started to also think from systemic point of view. Applying this fundamental stem cell knowledge, doing preclinical projects, I started to more and more be interested in brain, because I also read very interesting review about blood, bone, and brain triad, how this triad regulates stem cell regenerative potential and environment, and realizing that now, wow, bone marrow or bone where stem cells are is very innervated, and this has been then further developed by other groups to really study this brain component in the stem cell field, or sometimes it's a really difficult name, neuronal component in the brain. So that was the thinking about this master in biotechnology, PhD in stem cell recognized group, then applied or preclinical projects, and finally entering my company and developing projects in stem cell field. So I hope my education path, which sometimes from perspective of time, I think this is still educational journey, and PhD was not the final destination, is iterative process. It's something which I very much enjoy to learn and apply. And I think company, even environment, industry environment is asking you to become actually applied scientists. So that's something which I'd like to share today with you. and I'm really asking you, whenever you think about your company, choose carefully location, the name, which might be a fun and creative process, but also think about your knowledge, about your know-how. Is this sufficient? Because you can also realize that know-how can put you out of competition. Know-how can be very unique and very precious. Even you have to sometimes invest and sacrifice. This is something which I think is one of the main important things when you start your own company. And for me, definitely, the know-how I have is very precious, and I'm very proud of it, because thanks to this know-how, I can make a difference in this world, also agile difference. So thanks a lot. See you next time, and enjoy your weekend. Bye.